After so many years of a lot of the conversation surrounding the video game industry, Sega is one that's pretty much been put on the back burner. But the company itself is very interesting because they've stayed quite relevant and profitable, especially with some of the video games that they've been bringing out. So I saw some posts on Twitter. I saw Hazaro Gaming Dragon of Dojima basically posting all these fun celebratory memes surrounding Sega. And I was like, well, let me check up on these cats and see what in the world they've been doing all this while. And they have been sneakishly doing some really cool stuff. Now, like y'all know, when I made my, Yakuza video, I had never played any of the Yakuza games. So I downloaded it on Game Pass the other day. Still yet to play it. Forgive me, my ignorance on that matter. And the Persona games, I've never played them before. I've seen them being played, never taken the time to explore them. But since the conversation about Metaphor, came to the limelight, I was like, okay, let me see what in the world is going on. Then there are all these other franchises that they have. Football Manager, the Alien Isolation game. Oh, the one that is heavily known for the IGN review that I think they gave it a 5 out of 10. I think I got this game on sale on Good Old Games. Just haven't. It's in the backlog. Forgive me for those of you who said, go. I think it was some of you who said go get this game and play it because it's going to change your life. So I got it. I just need to play it, but time constraints have been holding me back. Then the Space Marine Part 1 game, which is also, a very interesting fan favorite, was made by them. And then just all over the place, you get to see some really interesting and I would say overall beloved games that they've been making lately. And it got me to thinking, this company is just vibing in its own little bubble and it doesn't have any hardware that constrains it anymore. Yet we're seeing the conversation about PlayStation and, Sony and Microsoft and Xbox continue to permeate everywhere. And everybody's saying, well, they've all, Xbox has gone third party and, just like Sega and all of this stuff. And I kind of think to myself, like, at the end of the day, what is this whole thing about, being third party? Well, the reality is being third party is actually a good thing for you because if you're successful as a third party publisher, you don't really have to deal with a lot of the constraints that you face as somebody who has hardware in today's market, except your Nintendo, and you can push 50, 30, 40 million copies of your game. And I'm doing some, just a little bit of looking around. Sega apparently made about 33 billion yen in profits as of, I think, last year, which comes out to somewhere around, I think, 200 and something $million. Again, statistics just for statistics' sake to see if the company is actually doing well. And they seemingly are. And I think this is, indicative of there are many ways to, what they'll say, there are many ways to catch fish. Some people will use a net, some will use a fishing rod, and some will probably use a grenade or whatever the heck it is. However you want to put it, it just shows that in the gaming industry, in the gaming scene, there are measures and avenues that a publisher or developers or even platform holders can leverage to make money and to continue to, push their own, business forward. And I think Sega has just basically done a good job to really find a good market, a niche, and be able to continue to, do well, sell, and thrive in a gaming industry, especially now that it's so saturated and now that everything is so weird and uncertain. They seemingly, are just doing very well. They're launching a lot of games. In fact, I think last year and this year alone, when I looked at some of the lineups, I was quite surprised. I was like, wow. Apparently, there's also an entire Sega subreddit that, keeps you up to date on what games are being released, and they actually rank them. They're like, so how is Sega doing so far? And people will come out and talk about different things. They'll chime in. They'll talk about how they feel Sega is actually doing and point out some of the games that are their favorites. And apparently they are just doing quite well for themselves. It's nothing crazy, but it's actually quite solid. And they don't even have the problems and the constraints that, say, PlayStation has or Xbox has. They just have their audience, they have their games, and they're actually launching a series of games every single year. Sure, it may be sequels, it may be follow-ups, but these are games that their fans already love and they're games that are already established. And I think, to me, this is a business strategy that is actually really sound at the end of the day. And I think this is very important that we point this out because even the not so big guys are thriving in an industry and in a market like this. Yes, Sega has partnerships with probably, PlayStation themselves and even Xbox themselves and even maybe some partnerships with Nintendo. But at the end of the day, these are partnerships that still benefit them when, it comes down to it and in the grand scheme of things. So it's very nice to see Sega thrive and know that in a third party side, you can still make good of what it is that you're doing as a game publisher. And even with your development studio or studios, you're able to continue to just do well in a market like this. And it's a core focus on the audience and core focus on what it is they like and what it is they want, and ensuring that you're delivering exactly that to them every single time. I think this is Sega's key to success so far right now. With just a handful of franchises, it is, in my opinion anyways, a better financial position from what I'm seeing, a better PR position, and a better fan position than even, say, a company like Ubisoft at the moment. Now, Ubisoft is bigger, probably has more in revenue and expenditure, and even possibly much more in profits, even on a year where Ubisoft may, be struggling. It may just make us, it may make as little profit as what Square Enix, what Sega would deem a lot, but still, the footing and the grounding that Sega has right now is actually quite cool, and I'm really pleased to see it. And I'm doing some more digging, and I'm just looking into exactly all what it is that they have, and what people are looking forward to in their ecosystem. And I gotta say, it is quite impressive. It is so impressive. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section about Sega so far. I know in our conversations, like I said, when it comes to the consoles and when it comes to the big platforms, everybody wants to use Sega as some kind of a meme. They'll say Microsoft or Xbox is going full Sega, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, here's where Sega is right now. And to me, I think this is actually quite solid and that they're doing well, and they have these franchises that are just their own hitters. And they seem to nail down exactly what it is that these games and their audiences want. Have y'all seen the Metacritic score for Metaphor? I mean, I don't care much about Metacritic scores, but I was quite surprised that this game has such a really high Metacritic score. And it's not exclusive too. So it's going to be a hit. No doubt about that. Thanks for watching the video. Appreciate you guys so much. Peace out.